Spartan Locke. I have spent enough years with Oni to know the truth. Once this is over, after all I have done, they'll order you to kill us both.
Hello and welcome. I hope this to be the first of many videos I've begun making on detailed character breakdowns within the Halo universe. As if my massive amalgamation of time spent watching videos, reading, and playing the games themselves is not enough, it is easy to say that I love Halo and its expanded universe. With that being said, I hope that you enjoy the first of my videos and would be greatly appreciative if you were to give me a like and a subscribe. Now without further ado, let us dive in. To start off, let's just say that I chose Dr. Halsey as my first character breakdown, as she's my absolute favorite in the entire universe. There surrounds a lot of controversy around this character, but I just love her maverick, edge of morality scientist motif. For those of you who are not acquainted with the Halo universe, or are just trying to learn some more about the characters in the universe, Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Halsey is the creator of the Spartan 2 program, the program that Master Chief John 117 was a part of. Allow me to clarify, I will not be describing the Dr. Halsey that is seen in Paramount's Halo television series, also known as the Silver Timeline. These breakdowns, for the foreseeable future at least, will be covering the game timeline most of us are familiar with. Halsey's ultimate goal was to create an elite league of super soldiers that were biomechanically enhanced to become absolute war machines. Originally, the purpose of these super soldiers was to quell the insurrectionists, those who wanted to disband from the United Nations Space Command, but were ultimately used in the Human Covenant War. But before we dive too deep into Halsey's motives, let us explore why she had become the mad scientist that we know today. In 2515, Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Halsey served in the Office of Naval Intelligence's Science Division as an advisor, until 2522, when she was named Chief Scientist of Oni. Since Halsey was young, she seemed to have a fascination with artificial intelligence constructs, which would play a large role in the creation of Cortana, who I am sure we are all very well acquainted with if you have ever enjoyed any capacity of the Halo universe. During her years with Oni, Halsey spent a large amount of her time experimenting with AI constructs and their applications for the human military. Halsey is most notably known for her work in the Spartan 2 program, which was, in short, the abduction of children that were specially chosen from their homes in the aim to train them to be the UNSC's next form of defense against insurrectionists throughout the galaxy. Little did the Office of Naval Intelligence know, they would end up relying on their elite divisions of Spartans to defend humanity against the Covenant in the war that was soon to come. To cover up their acts, the children of the Spartan 2 experiment were replaced by Flash clones. These are cheap, bioengineered clones that quickly die from illness or weakness soon after they are created. This was done in an effort to keep the general public and families of the children in the dark about what Oni's true intentions were. During the Spartan 2 program on Reach, Halsey kept a close eye on all of the children that were in the program, often developing some sort of relationship with each of them, especially John 117, who was the child that would eventually become the Master Chief, otherwise known as the poster boy of Halo. Halsey seemed to have some sort of an emotional connection with John, and would later be devastated when she learned of his apparent death. Our first introduction of Dr. Halsey in the games was in Halo Reach. After the destruction of a Covenant Corvette that was in Reach's atmosphere, Dr. Halsey summons Noble Team to discuss the Covenant military that they had encountered at Visegrad Relay. It is here that Halsey reveals that herself, as well as others at Oni, believe that the Covenant dedicates a large part of their military to religious purposes, and this is their motive for invading Reach. Later in the game, we will see the Forerunner vessel that Halsey has been examining with the help of Cortana, the smart AI construct that she had developed. Cortana was, essentially, a copy of Dr. Halsey's consciousness, and one of the smartest and most intelligible AIs ever deployed in the UNSC to be used for warfare. Years after the events of the Spartan II experiment came to light, Dr. Halsey would be arrested by the UNSC to be used for the development and upgrading of the Infinity, the flagship of the UNSC. The Infinity uses the amalgamation of human and Forerunner technology with its sublight or slipspace engines. Dr. Halsey would become a crucial part of the implementation of this type of amalgamous technology. Something I would like to mention here is the storyline of Spartan Ops. While the gameplay was arguably trash, it does shed some light on the story of Dr. Halsey and provides us with a more in-depth view of her dynamic with the UNSC. After the events of New Phoenix, also known as the Didact's use of the Composer on Earth, Halsey was transported from an Oni prison to investigate a Forerunner artifact, under the supervision of Spartan Gabriel Thorne on the Infinity, which was suspended in a slipspace tether above the planet Requiem. This was an attempt by Jul Mdama's Storm Covenant to tether the Infinity to Requiem and destroy humanity's flagship by initiating a self-destruct sequence the Forerunners had left on the Shield world. While investigating the artifact, Halsey is contacted by Mdama himself in an attempt to gain information. Halsey decides to try and play his game and work to understand what he is looking for on Requiem. She is ultimately caught by Spartan Thorne and Sergeant Palmer, and placed under custody. While she is in the custody of the Infinity's Marines, Roland appears in the room she has been locked in to ask her why she would betray the UNSC. Again. Halsey responds with a passphrase, "Undid Iridium," which bypasses Roland's systems and grants her access outside of her cell.
Come on, Doc. What has keeping secrets ever really gained you?
What is hidden can be useful.
Such as?
Such as the phrase, undid iridium.
Undid. UNSC AI override instructions active, Dr. Catherine Halsey.
Roland, tell the guards outside that Captain Lasky has requested my presence in his ready room. Then block all further communications.
Yes.
After this, she breaks into Captain Lasky's war room to continue speaking with Mdama about what information they could provide for each other. After some investigation of the Prometheans that the Spartans had encountered, Roland mentions a report involving John 117 and the discovery of Requiem. Until now, the Doctor had not been privy to his survival after the events of Halo 3 and was taken aback. Eventually, she is caught after Roland manages to break hold of her dirty trick and places her back under custody. She is then confronted by Captain Lasky, and she promptly slaps him for not telling her that John was alive. Immediately after this, the ship is invaded by Promethean Knights, and Halsey is taken to Jul. After being taken to Mdama, Halsey is asked to open a Forerunner construct that is apparently containing the essence of the Librarian, the wife of the Didact. After distracting Mdama by cracking it open, she runs into its hard light before Mdama can interfere. Here, Halsey is met with the Librarian, who wants to gift to her the Janus Key, a device that is used to catalog all the structures and installations that the Forerunners created. After a brief conflict with Fireteam Majestic, Sergeant Palmer and a group of Mdama's Storm Covenant escapes with Halsey after Palmer, who was sent to assassinate her, shoots Halsey in the arm. After these events, Jul amputates her arm to keep her alive, explaining why she is missing her arm in the beginning of Halo 5. Halsey is somewhat involved with the Halo 5 storyline, but not greatly. Before the events of the Battle of Sunayon, the elite homeworld capital, she worked with the Swords of St. Helios and the Infinity to take down Cortana's Guardians. With the exception of some of these events in Halo 5, this is the farthest that Halsey's story goes, at least in the games and most of the expanded media. I hope that you have enjoyed this deeper dive into the life of Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Halsey. Like if you liked it, and please dislike if you did not. Again, thank you for watching.
The Master Chief is dead.
This file reads, missing in action.
Catherine. Spartans never die.
Your mistake is seeing Spartans as military hardware. My Spartans are humanity's next step. Our destiny as a species. Do not underestimate them. But most of all, do not underestimate him.